Hello, my dears. How frustrating and annoying it can be to live through a whole day, get tired, go to bed with the single dream of sleeping well, gathering strength, and then suddenly, in the middle of the night, find yourself wide awake. And, as luck would have it, it's around 3 o'clock. Sleep has vanished, leaving behind a slight anxiety or just an empty waiting for dawn. A familiar feeling, isn't it? That morning energy is nowhere to be found. The day begins feeling shattered. But I want to assure you, this isn't just an age-related misunderstanding or someone's cruel joke. Very often, behind this nighttime awakening, specifically at this time, there are quite understandable signals from our body. Our body is a wise system, and in this way, it might be signaling a small malfunction, perhaps because of what we ate or drank in the evening, how our day went, or even because of what's spinning in our heads before sleep. Those seemingly harmless habits, a late dinner, a cup of strong tea, evening worries, can subtly pull the strings of our sleep. But the good news is that you can and should react to these signals. I want to share with you simple, accessible ways for everyone to improve their night's rest so you can sleep peacefully until morning. No complex schemes, just understandable steps based on understanding our body's needs. Let's figure out together what's really happening in these pre-dawn hours and how to reclaim the joy of uninterrupted, restorative sleep. Stay with me, and you'll learn the simple secrets to peaceful nights. So, let's start with what we drink during the day, especially in the latter half. We all know that coffee at night is a bad idea, but we often forget that caffeine isn't just in coffee. Strong black tea, green tea, some carbonated drinks, and even chocolate contain this stimulating substance. And for many people, especially as they age, sensitivity to caffeine increases and metabolism slows down. This means that a cup of tea drunk even at 4 or 5 p.m. can continue to stir up your nervous system deep into the night. Caffeine is like a persistent guest who just won't leave, even when the party is long over. It blocks adenosine receptors, the substance that signals tiredness to the brain, and prevents you from falling into deep sleep and then staying asleep. So, what should you do? Try not to consume caffeinated drinks and foods for at least 6 to 8 hours before your intended bedtime. If you enjoy tea after lunch or in the evening, switch to herbal infusions: mint, chamomile, linden, rosehip, or simply drink warm water with lemon. Even drinks labeled decaf still contain trace amounts of caffeine, so herbal options are the safest choice for a peaceful night. Let's remember David, he's 65 years old. David was convinced caffeine didn't affect him. He could drink a cup of espresso after lunch and work calmly. In the evening, he liked to have a cup or two of strong black tea while reading the newspaper. Tea isn't coffee, he insisted. It calms me down. But every night he would wake up around 2 to 3 a.m. and toss and turn for a long time, thinking about the past day or making plans for tomorrow. He attributed it to stress and age. When advised to give up his afternoon and evening tea, he was skeptical. Nonsense. I've always drunk it like this, but he decided to try it as an experiment. He replaced black tea with mint tea after lunch and gave up tea altogether in the evening, switching to warm water. He didn't notice a difference for the first few days, but after a week or two, he suddenly realized he was sleeping more soundly. Wakings became infrequent and brief. The inner agitation that prevented him from falling back asleep disappeared. Physiologically, his nervous system was no longer under constant, albeit unnoticed by him, stimulation from caffeine. Adenosine levels could now build up normally towards the evening, promoting sleep onset and maintenance. Psychologically, he understood that what he had considered a harmless habit was actually a hidden enemy to his rest. David said, "It's amazing how we get used to things that harm us and don't even notice it. Now, I drink my black tea only in the morning, and after lunch, it's tranquility in a cup. Take a closer look at your drinks in the second half of the day. Perhaps that's where the reason for your nighttime wakefulness lies. Replace them with sleep-friendly alternatives, and you'll be surprised by the results. But drinks in the latter part of the day are not all. There's another evening ritual involving liquids that many find relaxing, but which can actually be a treacherous thief of your sleep. I'm talking about alcohol, a small glass of wine, a shot of brandy, or even beer before bed. It seems to help relax and fall asleep faster. And indeed, alcohol can speed up falling asleep due to its sedative effect. But it's a very deceptive helper. It disrupts sleep architecture, especially in the second half of the night. It suppresses the rapid eye movement, REM phase, which is crucial for brain restoration, emotional processing, and memory consolidation. Furthermore, as the liver starts processing the alcohol, its breakdown products can cause nervous system arousal and dehydration. This often leads to waking up in the middle of the night, typically around 3 to 4 a.m., with feelings of anxiety or thirst. It's like taking out a quick loan at exorbitant interest rates. A moment's relaxation now turns into a heavy price in the form of a restless night and a groggy morning. What's the solution? Replace evening alcohol with relaxation rituals that truly help the nervous system calm down rather than just switching it off temporarily. This could be a warm bath with magnesium salts, Epsom salts, which relaxes the muscles, a cup of warm herbal tea, chamomile, lemon balm, lavender, or a glass of warm milk, if you tolerate it well, or simply a few minutes of calm, deep breathing, light meditation, or listening to calming music. Listen to Eleanor's story. She's 70 years old. For many years, Eleanor drank a small glass of sherry before bed. "It's my tradition," she'd say. "It helps release the day's tension." She would fall asleep quickly, but almost every night she woke up around 3:30 a.m., her heart pounding, and she felt completely exhausted in the morning. The thought of giving up her evening sherry caused her almost to panic. But how will I relax? It's the only thing that helps me. She feared she wouldn't be able to sleep at all without her ritual. On her doctor's advice, she decided to try replacing the sherry with a cup of chamomile tea with a spoonful of honey. The first few evenings felt very strange. The tea seemed empty. It didn't provide that instant feeling of relaxation like alcohol did, but she persisted. After a week, she noticed that although it took a bit longer to fall asleep, she wasn't knocked out instantly. Her sleep became much deeper and calmer. She stopped waking up in the middle of the night. In the morning, she felt truly rested, not groggy. Physiologically, her sleep was no longer fragmented and shallow due to alcohol. Her sleep stages recovered, and her nervous system didn't receive the nightly hit from alcohol's breakdown products. Psychologically, she realized that true relaxation isn't a chemical knockout, but a calm state of mind and body, which she achieved through her new, healthy ritual. Eleanor admitted, "I was deceiving myself for years. Real rest is waking up refreshed, not escaping stress with a glass." If you have a habit of drinking before bed, even a little, consider if it might be stealing your precious night's rest. Try replacing it with a healthy relaxation ritual. Your body and your sleep will thank you. Speaking of how the body works at night, it's not just stimulants like caffeine or false friends, like alcohol, that can interfere with its rest. What we eat in the evening, and especially when we eat it, plays a huge role. Let's talk about dinner. Another common reason for nighttime awakenings, especially around 3 a.m., is related to the work of our digestive system and liver. A heavy, fatty, or simply very large dinner, eaten late in the evening, forces our internal organs, stomach, intestines, liver, pancreas, to work all night without rest. Imagine trying to sleep while noisy repairs are happening in the next room. That's roughly how your body feels when its digestive system is overloaded with night work. The liver, which should be busy with detoxification and repair at night, is forced to expend resources on processing food. This can cause discomfort, fluctuations in blood sugar levels, and hormonal surges that wake us up. What can you do? Try to have dinner no later than 3 to 4 hours before bed, and choose lighter, easily digestible meals. Instead of fried potatoes with fatty meat or a large portion of dumplings, baked fish or chicken breast with a vegetable salad or stewed vegetables. Instead of heavy cream sauces, olive oil, lemon juice, plain yogurt. Prefer boiled, stewed, or baked dishes. Your goal is to allow your digestive system to complete its main work before you go to bed, so that at night the body can fully rest and regenerate. Here's Arthur's story, 72 years old. Arthur is an old-school man, accustomed to hearty dinners. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes with butter, rich soups. These were the staples of his evening meal, often shortly before bed. He often woke up in the middle of the night, feeling heaviness in his stomach and a kind of internal tremor. He slept fitfully. His daughter urged him for a long time to try eating earlier and lighter dinners. Arthur grumbled, "What am I, a bird, to be pecking at salads? A man needs proper food." He resisted, feeling that a light dinner would leave him hungry and unsatisfied. but sleep problems and constant morning grogginess convinced him to try the experiment. He started eating dinner around 6 p.m., choosing baked turkey with broccoli or a pureed vegetable soup. For the first few days, he felt hungry before bed. He would drink herbal tea or eat a spoonful of plain yogurt. Imagine his surprise when, after a couple of weeks, he realized he was sleeping through the night. The heaviness disappeared. Morning fatigue was replaced by energy. Physiologically, his digestive system and liver could finally breathe a sigh of relief. They could calmly perform their nighttime tasks, cleansing and repair, instead of working as porters for heavy food. Psychologically, Arthur felt a lightness not only in his body, but also in his mood. He said, "I thought it was age-related, but it turned out to be just my love for heavy dinners at night. Now I feel 10 years younger. Think about your dinner. Are you turning it into an unbearable burden for your night's rest? Give your body a chance to rest from digestion at night, and your sleep will become deeper and calmer. But what if dinner was light and early, but you still feel like snacking closer to bedtime? Or perhaps you simply have a habit of munching on something in front of the TV. This is where another small but important detail affecting nighttime peace might be lurking. We're talking about evening snacks. It's not just about sweets, although sugar, of course, can cause sharp fluctuations in blood glucose levels, leading to night awakenings. But other types of snacks can also be undesirable before sleep. Too large a snack, even if it's not sweet, puts a strain on digestion again. Products made from white flour, chips, salty snacks, these are all quick carbohydrates or stimulants that can disrupt the body's balance at night. Even some healthy snacks, in large quantities like lots of fruit, can cause a sugar spike or fermentation. What's the solution? Ideally, avoid snacking right before bed, but if you genuinely feel hungry, choose something light, small in portion size, and balanced. A good option is a combination of protein and healthy fats or fiber, which provide lasting satiety and stabilize energy levels. For example, a small handful of almonds or walnuts, literally just a few, a small glass of plain yogurt or kefir without additives, a small piece of cheese, a few celery or cucumber sticks, perhaps with a spoonful of hummus. The key is moderation and making the right choice. It's like adding a small log to the fireplace that will smolder long and steadily, rather than a pile of paper that flares up and quickly burns out, leaving only smoke. Let me tell you Margaret's story. She's 68 years old. Margaret loved her evening ritual, a cup of tea and a couple of cookies before her favorite show. She'd say, "It's my little comfort, my familiar ritual at the end of the day." But every night, around 3, she would wake up with a feeling of slight anxiety and then struggle to fall back asleep. When it was suggested, she replaced the cookies with something more stabilizing and less stimulating for her body, like a handful of almonds or a small glass of warm milk. She initially reacted with disbelief. But that's completely different. Not as familiar, not the same texture. It was difficult for her to give up an established ritual. It caused internal discomfort. The first couple of evenings felt unfamiliar, even a little sad without her cookies. But after just a week, Margaret noticed a difference. She started waking up less often during the night, and if she did wake up, she easily fell back asleep. Physiologically, her body stopped experiencing sharp energy fluctuations or overload from the pre-sleep snack. A stable, light snack, or lack thereof, allowed her body's systems to work smoothly throughout the night. Psychologically, she found a new, healthier relationship with her evening rituals, understanding that caring for her sleep was more important than a fleeting habit. She said, "I never thought such a seemingly small thing, like an evening snack, could have such a big impact. Now I sleep much more peacefully. So if you like to snack before bed, take a closer look at what and how much you're eating. Perhaps a small adjustment to this ritual might give you hours of peaceful sleep." We've mainly talked about what we eat and drink in the evening, but our sleep is not just the result of the last few hours before bed. How we spend the entire day also matters immensely, and one of the key components of healthy sleep is movement. What connection could there possibly be between daytime activity and nighttime sleep? A very direct one. Regular physical activity during the day is one of the best ways to regulate our internal clocks, the so-called circadian rhythms, which govern our sleep-wake cycles. Moderate exercise helps reduce stress hormone levels, promotes the production of happiness hormones, endorphins, and, most importantly, improves the quality and depth of sleep at night. Conversely, a sedentary lifestyle can lead to feeling sluggish during the day, while sleep becomes shallow and intermittent at night. The body doesn't get that healthy fatigue necessary for sound sleep. It's like a clock that hasn't been wound. It might tick, but inaccurately and with glitches, stopping in the middle of the night. So, what should you do? We're not talking about setting records at the gym or grueling workouts. Regular moderate activity is enough to improve sleep. A daily walk in the fresh air, at least 30 minutes, is already wonderful. Light joint exercises or morning stretches, gardening, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, even active house cleaning, all contribute to your health and good sleep. The main thing is to choose something you enjoy and do it regularly. Try to be most active in the first half of the day, or at least finish intense workouts 3 to 4 hours before bed, so as not to overstimulate the nervous system before rest. Meet Susan. She's 75 years old. After retiring, Susan began leading a very measured, even sedentary lifestyle. She read a lot, watched TV, but hardly ever left the house, citing fatigue and aching joints. Her nights were restless. She often woke up, felt an unpleasant tension in her legs, restless leg syndrome, as she was later told, and couldn't find a comfortable position for a long time. "I'm too old for walks. I just need to rest," she'd say. Her granddaughter persuaded her to start small, just walking around the apartment for 10 minutes to her favorite music every morning. Susan agreed reluctantly, mostly out of politeness. At first, it felt strange, her legs tired quickly, but she persisted. Gradually, she increased the time to 15 minutes, then started going out for short walks in the yard, just to sit on a bench and walk a little. After a month, she noticed surprising changes. The unpleasant sensations in her legs at night became much weaker and less frequent. She started falling asleep faster and waking up less often during the night. Physiologically, moderate activity improved her circulation, including in her legs, helped regulate her internal clock, and contributed to deeper, more restorative sleep. Movement also helped relieve general muscle tension. Psychologically, Susan felt a surge of energy and pride in herself. She stopped feeling old and feeble. "Who would have thought," she laughed, "that simple walking could bring back my sleep and joy in life? Even small but regular physical activity can work wonders for your sleep." Find the movement that suits you: walking, swimming, yoga, dancing, gardening, and make it an enjoyable part of your life. Your body will reward you not only with daytime energy, but also with calm, uninterrupted sleep at night. And so, it seems we've taken care of the body, fed it correctly, hydrated it on time, gave it some movement during the day. But there's one more, perhaps the most important player on the team for good sleep: the state of our mind, especially before we close our eyes. An equally common reason for night awakenings, especially those around 3 a.m. when thoughts start swirling in your head, is stress, worries, and anxieties. Stress accumulated during the day, worries about the future, concerns for loved ones, mulling over unresolved problems. All this keeps our nervous system in a state of high alert. Levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, rise, which is a natural antagonist to sleep. And if, before sleep, we also feed these anxious thoughts by watching the news, stressful movies, or endlessly scrolling through feeds on our phones or tablets, the chances of peaceful sleep decrease sharply. Furthermore, the blue light from gadget screens suppresses the production of melatonin, our main sleep hormone. This delivers a double blow to our rest. The mind is agitated, and the body doesn't receive the signal to sleep. It's like trying to sleep in a noisy train station during train announcements, practically impossible. So, how can you calm your mind? Consciously create a buffer zone before bed, an hour or an hour and a half of calm and relaxation. Put away all gadgets, phones, tablets, laptops. Turn off the TV, especially if it's showing news, political talk shows, or thrillers. Instead, do something calming. Read a physical book, something gentle, calm, perhaps a favorite classic, or something about nature. Listen to quiet, relaxing music or nature sounds. Take a warm bath with lavender or magnesium salts. Do some simple stretching exercises or practice deep diaphragmatic breathing. It's excellent for calming the nervous system. Another good technique is to start a gratitude journal. Before sleep, write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for from the past day. even the smallest ones. This helps shift focus from problems and worries to positive moments. Here's George's story, 69 years old. George was a very responsible man who always worried deeply about everything: his children's health, his grandchildren's successes, the situation in the country and the world. His unwavering evening ritual was watching the late news on TV before bed. He considered it his duty to stay informed about all events, but afterward, he couldn't fall asleep for a long time, tossing and turning, and if he did fall asleep, he often woke up in the middle of the night with a pounding heart and a swarm of anxious thoughts in his head. "How can anyone sleep with everything going on in the world?" he complained to his wife. She gently suggested he try, just for a week, replacing the news with something else, like reading books about travel or history, which he had loved in his youth. George initially brushed it off. "This is no time for books. I need to know what's happening." But constant daytime fatigue, due to poor sleep and background anxiety, eventually persuaded him to try. He took an old book about great geographical discoveries off the shelf. He started reading about an hour before bed, settled comfortably in his armchair. At first, his thoughts still habitually returned to the news and problems, but gradually, the fascinating story about distant lands and courageous people captivated him. He noticed he was going to bed with a much calmer mind. After a couple of weeks, he discovered with surprise and joy that he was sleeping much better. Night awakenings filled with anxiety almost stopped. Physiologically, avoiding the stream of anxious information and the screen's blue light allowed his melatonin to be produced in the right amounts, and his parasympathetic nervous system, responsible for relaxation, to activate. Psychologically, shifting his focus to something neutral and pleasant before sleep helped break the vicious cycle of anxious thoughts that interfered with sleep. George admitted to his wife, "I've realized something important. I can't control everything happening in the world, but I can definitely control what I fill my mind with before sleep. And this simple decision brought me back peace and sleep. Take care of your peace of mind before heading off to the land of Nod. Create your own island of silence and tranquility at the end of the day. Calm your mind, and your body will gratefully follow it into deep, restorative sleep." So you see, my dear friends, how much we can do for our sleep simply by slightly changing our daily, often unconscious, habits. Waking up at 3 a.m. is not a sentence, nor an inevitable companion of age. More often than not, it's a signal from your wise body that it needs a little help, a bit more care, and attention to its needs. Your life is filled with invaluable experience, wisdom. You know so much, have experienced so much, and are capable of so much. You absolutely deserve for every night to bring you complete, deep rest, restoring your strength for a new day full of meaning, connection, and small joys. Don't be afraid to try something new, even if old habits seem so familiar and comfortable. Start with one small step, with the piece of advice that seemed most relevant and easy for you to implement. Listen to yourself, to your body's reactions. It's the best advisor. You might be surprised how quickly it responds to your care with positive changes. Remember, your health, your well-being, and your calm, healing sleep are largely in your hands, and it's never too late to take a step towards yourself, towards harmony and well-being. Sleep soundly, rest fully, and be healthy and vibrant at any age.